It began on a quiet Tuesday night. I, David, was lying in bed, half asleep, when I heard a soft rustling beside me. My wife, Shara, had always been an early sleeper, but this was different. I turned to her, only to find her body shimmering under the moonlight. Before my eyes, she shrank, her features morphing into those of a sleek, black cat. I blinked, convinced I was dreaming, but the cat stared back at me with Shara's unmistakable green eyes. By morning, she was human again, acting as if nothing had happened. I decided not to mention it, thinking it was a one-time occurrence. But the next night, it happened again. Please subscribe to my channel for more sweet videos like this. Let the story continue. By the third night, I couldn't stay silent. "Shara," I whispered as she curled up on the windowsill in her feline form. Her ears twitched, and she turned to me, her eyes wide with surprise. "I know," I said. She leaped onto the bed, transforming back into her human self in a blur of light. "I was going to tell you," she admitted, her voice trembling, "but I didn't know how." She explained that the curse had been passed down through her family for generations. Every night at midnight, she would turn into a cat until dawn. I was stunned but determined to support her. Little did I know, this was only the beginning of our strange journey. Life with Shara became a balancing act. We adjusted our schedules to accommodate her nightly transformation, but it wasn't easy. One evening, we attended a friend's party, and as midnight approached, Shara grew anxious. "We need to leave," she whispered urgently. But before we could slip away, the clock struck 12. In the middle of the crowded room, Shara vanished. Panicked, I searched for her, only to find a black cat darting under the table. I made excuses and rushed her home, realizing how complicated our lives had become. A few weeks later, a stranger appeared at our doorstep. He was an elderly man with piercing blue eyes and a knowing smile. "I've come to help your wife," he said. Shara froze, recognizing him as a distant relative. He explained that the curse could be broken, but it required a dangerous ritual. Skeptical but desperate, we agreed to hear him out. He warned us that the process would test our bond, and that failure could have dire consequences. Despite the risks, Shara was determined to try. The ritual required us to gather rare ingredients: a feather from a phoenix, a drop of moonlight, and a tear from a mermaid. The stranger guided us, but the journey was fraught with danger. We traveled to distant lands, facing mythical creatures and overcoming impossible odds. Each challenge brought us closer together, but also tested our resolve. Shara's nightly transformations became more unpredictable, and I worried we were running out of time. Our first task was to find the phoenix. We ventured into a volcanic mountain range, where the legendary bird was said to reside. The heat was unbearable, and the terrain treacherous. When we finally spotted the phoenix, it was surrounded by flames. Shara, in her cat form, used her agility to distract it while I plucked a feather. The phoenix screeched, but we escaped just in time. That night, as Shara transformed, I noticed something different. Her fur had a faint golden glow. Next, we sought the drop of moonlight. The stranger told us it could only be collected during a lunar eclipse. We camped atop a remote hill, waiting for the celestial event. As the moon darkened, Shara transformed and leaped into the sky, her feline form glowing. She returned with a shimmering droplet in her paw. It was a breathtaking sight, but the stranger warned that the hardest part was yet to come. The final ingredient was the most elusive. We traveled to the coast, where legend spoke of a mermaid who wept only for true love. Shara and I spent days searching, until one night, we heard a haunting melody. Following the sound, we found the mermaid, her eyes filled with sorrow. Moved by our story, she shed a single tear, which Shara caught in a vial. With all the ingredients gathered, we returned home, ready to face the final challenge. The stranger prepared the ritual, drawing intricate symbols on the floor of our living room. Shara stood at the center, her human form trembling with anticipation. As he chanted, the room filled with light, and Shara's body began to shift uncontrollably between human and cat. The pain was evident on her face, but she held on, determined to break the curse. I held her hand, whispering words of encouragement. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding light engulfed the room. When it faded, Shara lay on the floor, exhausted but human. The stranger smiled, declaring the curse broken. Relief washed over us, but it was short-lived. The stranger warned that the curse's remnants could still linger, and we must remain vigilant. Shara and I embraced, grateful for the journey that had brought us closer than ever. With the curse lifted, life returned to normal, or so we thought. Shara no longer transformed at midnight, but strange occurrences began to happen. Objects would move on their own, and shadows seemed to follow us. At first, we dismissed it as paranoia, but the incidents grew more frequent. One night, Shara woke up screaming, claiming she had seen a shadowy figure in our room. The stranger returned, his expression grave. "The curse is gone, but its source remains," he explained. He revealed that the curse had been created by a vengeful spirit, and breaking it had awakened the entity. To truly be free, we would need to confront the spirit and destroy its anchor. Reluctantly, we agreed, knowing there was no other choice. The stranger led us to an ancient forest where the spirit was said to reside. The air was thick with tension, and the trees seemed to whisper warnings. As we ventured deeper, the shadows grew darker and the temperature dropped. Shara clung to my arm, her fear palpable. Suddenly, we reached a clearing where a crumbling altar stood. The stranger instructed us to prepare for the confrontation. The spirit emerged from the shadows, its form shifting and twisting. It spoke in a voice that chilled us to the bone, demanding we leave. But we stood our ground, determined to end it. "Hold over Shara." The stranger began a chant, and the spirit howled in rage. Shara and I held hands, focusing our energy on the ritual. The spirit lunged at us, but the stranger's magic held it at bay. The stranger revealed that the spirit's anchor was a locket buried beneath the altar. Using the phoenix feather, moonlight droplet, and mermaid's tear, we created a powerful talisman. As we placed it on the locket, the spirit screamed, its form dissolving into nothingness. The forest fell silent, and the air grew warm once more. The curse was truly broken. Returning home, Shara and I took time to recover from the ordeal. The shadowy incidents ceased, and life began to feel normal again. But the experience had changed us. We were stronger, more connected, and more appreciative of each other. Shara's gratitude was evident in her every gesture, and I vowed to always stand by her side, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Just as we thought our adventures were over, a letter arrived. It was from Shara's estranged aunt, who claimed to know more about the curse. Intrigued, we decided to visit her, hoping to uncover the full story. The journey took us to a remote village, where the aunt lived in a crumbling mansion. Her demeanor was cold, but her eyes held secrets. Shara's aunt revealed that the curse had been placed on their family centuries ago as punishment for a betrayal. She handed Shara an ancient journal, filled with cryptic writings and drawings. "The answers you seek are in here," she said. As we pored over the journal, we discovered references to a hidden artifact that could prevent the curse from ever returning. The journal led us to an abandoned temple hidden deep in the mountains. The journey was perilous, But we pressed on, driven by the hope of securing our future. Inside the temple, we faced a series of puzzles and traps, each more challenging than the last. Shara's quick thinking and my determination saw us through, and we finally reached the artifact, a glowing crystal. As Shara touched the crystal, a surge of energy filled the room. Visions of her ancestors flashed before our eyes, revealing the truth behind the curse. The crystal was a source of immense power, capable of protecting Shara's bloodline from future curses. We carefully retrieved it, knowing it was the key to our lasting peace. Returning home, we thought our troubles were over, but the crystal's power attracted unwanted attention. A shadowy organization, seeking to harness its energy, began to pursue us. We found ourselves on the run, constantly looking over our shoulders. Shara's resilience and my resourcefulness were put to the test as we fought to protect the crystal. We eventually learned that the organization was led by a man named Victor, who had a personal vendetta against Shara's family. He believed the crystal was rightfully his and would stop at nothing to claim it. His cunning and ruthlessness made him a formidable foe, and we knew we had to outsmart him to survive. Victor's pursuit turned into a deadly game of cat and mouse. He set traps and manipulated those around us, trying to force us into a corner. Shara and I relied on each other, using our bond to stay one step ahead. But the pressure was mounting, and we knew we couldn't keep running forever. We decided to confront Victor head-on, luring him into a trap of our own. Using the crystal's power, we created a diversion that allowed us to gain the upper hand. The battle was intense, but in the end, Shara's determination and my unwavering support saw us through. Victor was defeated, and the organization disbanded. With Victor gone, we finally felt safe. The crystal was securely hidden, and Shara's curse was a distant memory. We returned to our normal lives, cherishing the peace we had fought so hard to achieve. But the experiences had changed us, making us stronger and more resilient. Shara and I decided to start a family, knowing that our love had overcome incredible odds. As we prepared for this new chapter, we reflected on our journey, grateful for the challenges that had brought us closer together. The future was bright, and we faced it with hope and determination. Years later, our daughter, Lily, was born. She inherited Shara's green eyes and curious spirit. As she grew, we noticed small, strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, shadows that seemed to follow her. At first, we dismissed it as imagination, but deep down, we feared the curse might have left a mark. We consulted the stranger, who confirmed our fears. The curse's remnants had passed to Lily, though in a weakened form. He assured us that with the crystal's power, we could protect her, but we knew we had to be vigilant, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Shara was determined to shield Lily from the curse's effects. She spent hours researching, seeking ways to strengthen the crystal's protection. Her love for our daughter was unwavering, and I admired her strength and dedication. Together, we vowed to ensure Lily's safety. As Lily grew, I made a promise to always protect her, just as I had protected Shara. I taught her to be brave and resourceful, preparing her for any challenges she might face. Our bond grew stronger, and I knew that no matter what, we would face the future together. Lily's first encounter with the curse's remnants came on her 10th birthday. She woke up screaming, claiming she had seen a shadowy figure in her room. Shara and I comforted her, but we knew it was a sign that the curse's echo was growing stronger. We intensified our efforts to protect her, using the crystal's power to create a barrier. The stranger returned, offering his assistance once more. He revealed that the curse's echo could be fully eradicated, but it required a sacrifice. Shara and I were willing to do whatever it took to ensure Lily's safety, even if it meant risking our own lives. The ritual to eradicate the curse's echo required us to channel the crystal's power into Lily, purging the remnants from her soul. It was a dangerous process, but we trusted the stranger's guidance. As we performed the ritual, the room filled with light, and Lily's screams echoed in our ears. But when the light faded, she was safe, the curse's echo gone. With the curse's echo eradicated, Lily was free to live a normal life. Shara and I celebrated, knowing that our sacrifices had secured her future. We passed the crystal down to her, along with the journal, ensuring that she would always be protected. As Lily grew older, she became fascinated with the journal and the crystal. She studied them diligently, determined to understand her family's history. Shara and I supported her, proud of her curiosity and resilience. We knew that the legacy of the curse had been transformed into a story of strength and love. Lily's studies led her to uncover new mysteries hidden within the journal's pages. She discovered references to other artifacts, each with its own unique power. Excited by the possibilities, she embarked on a new adventure, determined to uncover the truth. Lily's journey took her to distant lands, where she faced challenges and made new allies. Shara and I watched with pride, knowing that she was carrying on the legacy of resilience and determination. We supported her from afar, ready to assist if needed. Lily's adventures brought her closer to understanding the full extent of her family's history. She uncovered secrets that had been buried for centuries, and her discoveries shed new light on the curse's origins. Her journey was far from over, but she faced it with courage and determination. As Shara and I grew older, we reflected on our journey, grateful for the love and strength that had carried us through. Lily's adventures continued, and we knew that the legacy of the curse had been transformed into a story of hope and resilience. The future was bright, and we faced it with pride. Shara and I watched as Lily set off on her latest adventure, the crystal glowing in her hand. We knew that the story of our family was far from over, but we were confident that the lessons we had learned would guide her. As the sun set, we held hands, grateful for the journey that had brought us here. The curse was gone, but its legacy lived on, a testament to the power of love and resilience. One evening, as Lily meditated in her sanctuary, a strange wind began to blow through the chamber. It carried whispers, fragments of voices speaking in an ancient tongue. The crystal pulsed in response, and Lily felt a pull toward the northern mountains. She consulted her mother's journal and found a cryptic passage about a place called the Echoing Peaks, where the winds were said to carry messages from the past. Sensing that this was no coincidence, Lily prepared for a new journey, unsure of what awaited her. The journey to the northern mountains was treacherous, with icy cliffs and unpredictable storms. When Lily finally reached the Echoing Peaks, she found a series of caves carved into the mountainside. Inside, the whispers grew louder, guiding her deeper into the labyrinth. She discovered murals depicting ancient rituals and a prophecy about a temporal convergence, a moment when the boundaries between past, present, and future would blur. The murals hinted that the Chronos Shard was tied to this event, and Lily realized she had to uncover the truth before it was too late. The prophecy spoke of a celestial event that would occur once every 1,000 years, aligning the stars in a way that could either stabilize or destabilize time itself. Lily calculated that the next convergence was only months away. She knew she had to prepare, but the murals also warned of a faction called the Eclipse Seekers, who sought to exploit the convergence for their own gain. Lily's role as a guardian had never been more critical. Lily began researching the Eclipse Seekers, a secretive group obsessed with manipulating time. She learned that they had been searching for the Chronos Shard for centuries, believing it could grant them ultimate power. Their leader, a woman named Seraphine, was said to be a master of dark magic. Lily knew she had to stay one step ahead of them, but the Seekers' network was vast, and their spies were everywhere. While investigating the Eclipse Seekers, Lily crossed paths with a rogue member named Kale. Disillusioned with the group's methods, Kale offered to help Lily in exchange for protection. Though wary, Lily saw the value in having an insider's knowledge. Kale revealed that Seraphine had discovered a way to amplify the convergence's effects, potentially unraveling time itself. Together, Lily and Kale devised a plan to thwart Seraphine's scheme. Kale led Lily to a hidden city built entirely around a massive clock tower. The city, known as Chronos Vale, was said to be a hub for time-related artifacts and knowledge. Its inhabitants, the Clockwork Sages, were reclusive but wise. Lily hoped they could provide insights into the Convergence and how to protect the Shard. However, gaining their trust would not be easy. The Clockwork Sages agreed to help Lily, but only if she passed their trial of time. The trial involved navigating a series of temporal rifts, each one testing her understanding of time's flow. Lily faced visions of alternate realities, moments frozen in time, and even glimpses of her own future. The trial pushed her to her limits, but she emerged victorious, earning the Sages' respect and their assistance. With the Sages' guidance, Lily devised a plan to stabilize the Convergence. She would need to create a temporal anchor, a device that could ground the flow of time during the event. The anchor required rare materials, including a shard of starlight and a thread from the fabric of reality itself. The Sages provided Lily with a map to the locations where these materials could be found, but the journey would be perilous. The first material, the shard of starlight, was said to be hidden in the heart of a dying star. Using the Chronos shard, Lily opened a portal to a distant galaxy. She found herself on a barren planet, its sky dominated by a massive, flickering star. The shard was guarded by a celestial being who demanded proof of Lily's worthiness. After a trial of courage and wisdom, Lily obtained the shard, but the encounter left her with more questions about the nature of time and her role as its guardian. The second material, the thread of reality, was even more elusive. It was said to exist in a realm between dimensions, accessible only through a portal that appeared once every century. Lily and Kale tracked down the portal's location, but as they prepared to enter, they were ambushed by Eclipse Seekers. A fierce battle ensued, and though they emerged victorious, Lily realized that Seraphine was closer than she had thought. Entering the portal, Lily found herself in a surreal landscape where the laws of physics seemed to bend and twist. She navigated through shifting terrain and encountered beings made of pure energy. At the heart of the realm, she found the thread of reality, a shimmering strand of light. As she reached for it, the realm began to collapse, forcing her to make a daring escape. Returning to the physical world, Lily discovered that Seraphine had launched an attack on Chronos Vale. The Eclipse Seekers sought to steal the Sage's knowledge and use it to control the Convergence. Lily and Kale rushed to defend the city, but Seraphine's forces were overwhelming. In the chaos, Seraphine herself confronted Lily, taunting her with visions of a future where time itself was enslaved. The battle raged through the streets of Chronos Vale, with Lily and Kale fighting side by side. Lily used the Chronos shard to manipulate time, creating barriers and slowing their enemies. Despite their efforts, Seraphine managed to steal a crucial artifact, a temporal compass that could guide her to the Convergence's epicenter. Lily knew she had to stop Seraphine before it was too late. With the Convergence only days away, Lily worked tirelessly to complete the temporal anchor. The Sages provided their expertise, but the process was fraught with danger. One misstep could destabilize time further. Meanwhile, Kale uncovered Seraphine's location, a hidden fortress deep within the mountains. Lily prepared for a final confrontation, knowing that the fate of time itself hung in the balance. Lily and Kale infiltrated Seraphine's fortress, navigating through traps and illusions. They finally confronted Seraphine in a chamber filled with temporal energy. The Eclipse Seekers' leader revealed her ultimate plan: to use the Convergence to rewrite history, erasing all who opposed her. Lily knew she had to act quickly, but Seraphine's power was immense. As the Convergence began, the sky darkened and the fabric of reality seemed to unravel. Lily activated the temporal anchor, creating a stabilizing field around the fortress. Seraphine fought back, using the stolen compass to amplify her power. The battle between them became a clash of wills, with time itself as the prize. Realizing that Seraphine's power was too great, Lily made a desperate decision. She channeled the full power of the Chronos Shard, merging it with the temporal anchor. The resulting explosion of energy neutralized Seraphine's power, but also destabilized the shard. Lily watched as the shard shattered, its energy dispersing into the void. The convergence ended, and time was saved, but at a great cost. With the convergence over, the world returned to normal. Seraphine and her followers were defeated, and the temporal anchor had stabilized time. Lily mourned the loss of the Chronos Shard, but knew that her actions had saved countless lives. The Clockwork Sages honored her as a hero, and Kale pledged to continue fighting against those who sought to abuse time's power. Though the Chronos Shard was gone, Lily's journey was far from over. She realized that her role as a guardian extended beyond the shard. It was about protecting the balance of time itself. With the sage's guidance, she began to rebuild her sanctuary, this time as a place of learning and protection for those who understood the fragility of time. As Lily looked to the future, she felt a sense of peace. The curse that had once haunted her family was now a distant memory, replaced by a legacy of courage and resilience. She knew that new challenges would arise, but she was ready to face them. The story of her family was no longer defined by a curse, but by the strength to overcome it. And as the sun set on a new day, Lily smiled, knowing that the journey was just beginning.